All right, so we're going to do a little tutorial on putting in numbers in scientific notation into your calculator. And I've got 3 different calculator types here, so whichever one you have, or something similar to this, make sure you rewatch and practice on your own calculator, because you need to be able to do this when we come across large numbers on tests and homework and whatever. So here's my numbers in scientific notation. There'll be a separate portion that goes through what exactly those numbers mean, but on this top set of numbers here, we're going to type these into our calculator, and most often inputting scientific notation in the wrong format into your calculator when you're dividing, that's when it causes the biggest issue. So that's why we're going to do this particular problem. So let me show you. So on this calculator, there's this EXP button. Where is it? Right here. That EXP button is how we get the times 10 part. So like if I want to type in, here's the number, you try typing into your calculator, 5.2 times 10 to the 4th. That's going to be our number. Okay, 5.2 times 10 to the 4th. So 5.2, there's that base number, and then times 10. I don't hit times, I don't hit 10, I just hit EXP. The little zeros pop up in the corner. That's where I'm going to put in my exponent. So again, I did not put in times or 10, it's 5.2 EXP, and then those zeros appear. So then I'm going to type in 4. That's why I put that number in scientific notation. On this one, it's just a little bit different. It has the EE button. So a lot of them have this. Some of them may also have like a button that actually says times 10, which then you would obviously hit that. So same number, 5.2, and then when I hit the EE, that's where those zeros appear. So when I put the 4 in. For this one, the graphing calculator, again, 5.2, and then this time though, EE is a secondary function. See, it's in blue. I'm going to do second EE, and there's an E appears on the screen, so it looks a little bit different, and then I'll type in a 4. So whichever style you have, you try that. And then for divided by, so I don't hit enter or anything, that's my number to start with, and then I'm going to hit divided by, and then 1.4 times 10 to the negative 10th. So again, starting over here, so divided by, you try this on your calculator. Now this actually took that number out of scientific notation. Some of them do that, some of them don't. Don't worry about it. So it's the same thing. Look at that in another video. So I hit divided by, and then 1.4, and then again, for this one, EXP, and then for a negative exponent, so it's supposed to be negative 10. I actually, for this style of calculator, type the 10 first, and then, so there's a plus minus. You don't want to use the negative key. That's not, so the minus sign isn't going to help, but the plus minus key. And notice that puts a little negative sign on the exponent that I'm supposed to have over here. And I hit enter or equals, and there's my answer. So we'll go over how we know how many digits to write down, but notice the display, 3.7, and there's a whole bunch of numbers. So I'm going to keep just 2 of those digits because my other 2 numbers just had 2. So notice that it's 3.17 blah blah, and then it just says 14 up here. I'm not going to write it down like that. What I'm going to do is write down, I'm going to keep this same notation, 3.7. Again, we'll talk about why and how you know to only put these 2 digits, but times, and then I put 10. So that number that was up high, where the in the upper right hand corner, that's where I'm going to put, that's the exponent on the 10. So put it there. So don't write it, I don't want you just doing this, 3.7, 14, because then that's the way your calculator is able to give it to you, but that doesn't really mean anything to real people. So times 10, 10's raised to the 14th. Okay, so for this one, same thing. I'm going to put in the number, so divided by, and then the 1.4, and again I hit the EE button, and there's the zeros pop up, so I put in the 10 first, and then I hit the plus minus sign, okay, and then equals. So you try this on your calculator, you should be getting this number. Over here, 5.4 E4, so divided by, and then I do 1.4. Again, I'm going to hit the second EE. There's the E again. So now, on this one though, the negative sign is right here. So negative, there it appears, and then 10. And then I should be able to hit enter. And I get that same number. So notice the way this calculator reports it on the screen. We have the same base number, and then it does E14. Again, I'd want to write it in this format over here. Notice if I don't use the scientific notation button, what's going to happen, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they'll try to type in 5.2, I just did that backwards, 5.2, and then they'll try to do something like times 10, and then, where's the exponent button on here anyway? And they'll try to do this. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, your calculator's gonna misinterpret what you mean, especially with dividing. So we're not using like the raising to the power button, or like this one, you know, people will do 5.2, and then they'll do the times 10, and then do the, where the heck is that button? Oh, this caret thingy, right? And the 4. And that's fine for that number, but when you go to divide by something else, let's watch the difference that I get. 1.4, and then times 10, and raised to the, there's that little caret thingy again, there it is, negative 10. Again, it will give you an error if you use the minus sign instead of the negative key, hit enter. Notice the difference in the answer. I get the same base number, so you might think, oh, it's practically the same, but notice that and now it says e to the negative 6, and that's because it actually went and multiplied by 10 to the 4th, so that was fine, divided by 1.4, and then it went and multiplied all that by the 10 to the negative 10 instead of dividing by it as well. So again, just to avoid errors, you gotta learn how to put it into your calculator correctly. So go back in any of these problems that you're doing with scientific notation, practice putting it into your own calculator and what the format looks like so that you know what to do, when to do it.